You want to learn about bullet journaling. It can be a tool or habit to integrate in your life that can help you organize your tasks, make you more disciplined, or have a massive impact on your life as a whole. But if you want a beautiful, colorful, or aesthetic bujo like those seen on Instagram, you came to the wrong video. Because in this video, I'll explain why you should start a bullet journal and how you can start a bullet journal with absolutely zero stationaries and actually use it to get things done instead of just decorating it. All you need is one pen and, of course, your bullet journal. If this is your first time here, hi. I'm about to become a sophomore at IIT Hyderabad and I make videos about studying, productivity, college life, creativity, and more. If you find any of this interesting, consider subscribing and let's get right into the video. For bullet journal, I use the Amazon Basics notebook. I'll leave a link to it in the description, but feel free to use any notebook that you can find handy. The idea of a bullet journal was first proposed by Ryder Carroll in 2013 as a handy tool to organize your life in a better way. Since then, the idea of bullet journal has been replenished and recreated by different people producing different styles. If you actually search the word bullet journal on Instagram, you'll see spreads made by putting a lot of time and by using expensive stationaries. To me, that approach didn't seem very appealing. It's just my own opinion, so I use the bujo with just one pen, any pen that I can find. My bujo isn't colorful, but it's still effective. Enough talking, let's grab the bullet journal and start with the actual process. The bullet journal, or popularly known as the bujo, can be structured in various ways and with various components. The ones I include are the following essential components and some optional components or elements which you can include yourself as well. Number one, the key. If you're using a squared or dotted bullet journal like me, it helps to count and write down the number of squares both horizontally and vertically. That way you don't have to count them every time. Next is like a guide to different notations known as the key. The commonly used notations are a dot for tasks, a circle for events. If you X out a task, it means it is finished. If you literally cross out the task, it means it's cancelled. In case any task need to be migrated to the next day, we put one arrow, a double arrow if it is migrated to the next week, and we put a left arrow if it is migrated to the future or the monthly log. I'll come to those later. And finally, a star to represent special or important events or tasks. These are completely subjective and you're free to create your own key if you want. Up next is the future log. The next thing I make when starting a new year or a new journal for a certain period, I make a future log or a year log, you might say. It basically contains all the things and goals I want to achieve by the end of that year. You can also specify exact months or dates beside a particular goal to impose an individual deadline to it. You can consider chunking the goals into different domains like academics, relationships, skills, travels, and etc. It's always good to write down your goals so you can look at them every day, and which is kind of my way to stay motivated and initialize the habit I want to build. This is where you can review or preview a whole month. A monthly tracker is consists of only three things. In my case, it is a calendar, a habit tracker, and a sleep tracker. I like the quote: if you want to improve something in your life, start tracking it and half of your problem is solved. It's simply because our brains respond better to visual cues than thoughts. That way, if you have been committed to working out for 6 days in a row, this tracker will try its best to make sure that you don't skip on the 7th day, as it wants to keep the chain from breaking. Just being able to check that box at the end of the day gives me a huge sense of accomplishment that keeps me going to that particular habit. The two things I track is my sleep cycle and my daily habits. Again, I can't stress this enough, but never ever compromise with sleep. You absolutely need good amount of sleep to function properly and learn better things and learn them faster. You can customize these trackers however you want. Now, obviously, these trackers will make you see how consistent you have been with the habit, but it's important not to beat yourself up about it. Trust me, there's something I used to do all the time. A tracker could have been a good or a bad effect on an individual. It can obviously show you the truth, but the way you look at it makes or breaks the habit. So suppose if your workout tracker looks like this. be happy about the 4 checked boxes instead of being down about the 3 unchecked boxes. It doesn't hurt to think positive. Next up is the spread where you plan out a whole week beforehand. This part is consists of dividing the 2 pages into 7 different boxes or segments. I mostly make the weekends day smaller as generally they have less work to do, like if there aren't any classes, but these days every day is a weekend, so things might change up a little bit. I name all the days and start putting 3 important tasks I planned for that day. Why 3? Because it is a beautifully balanced number, which is not too less or not will it overwhelm you in a day. I do put other things I want to do over the day. I personally also make a weekly bucket list where I put tasks that just need to get done within that week, not necessarily on any particular day. In case I get new assignments or projects to work out on, or it finally goes generally into the weekly bucket list, do remember to migrate the task you are unable to complete to the specified day. This part will really be a test of your organizing skills when you need to divide the long term goals into weekly goals. And I also suggest to plan only 1 week at a time as things get changed a lot quickly over a week. This is the most essential part of bullet journaling process for me. The weekly review is a summary of things that happened in your life over the previous week. By writing down how I am and how I feel, I really get to reflect on my emotions, which are generally tangled in complicated deadlocks. I am a chronic overthinker. I know how the idea of overthinking is romanticized these days, but the struggle is real. Being one myself, I tend to put a lot more thought into things that made an impact on my life or things or people that matter to me. And that doesn't always end up leading to authentic decisions. Or even if they're legit, doesn't mean they are worthwhile in reality. But overthinking isn't all that bad in my opinion, as it has the potential to decrypt complex behaviors of people around us and also may lead to see a certain matter from aspects you couldn't think of. These are partially the reason why I don't want to quit this habit of overthinking, even though I recognize it is a bad habit of mine. And this part of documentation doesn't necessarily need to be strictly weekly. If you feel like it, you can always sneak in one day or any day of the week when you feel like pouring your heart out and writing things down. This will definitely help you with your mental clarity. Every month we'll have some special essential events and we'll have other stuff that I didn't finish from the previous month. All that goes into the next month segment, which I call the next month goals, or you can call it literally anything. It's very trivial. In this part, which typically takes 1 page, I write down the important things I need to take care of in the next month, and I'll sometimes include special events like outings or birthdays also. This is the part which is always followed by reading through the weekly reviews of the previous month. That way, I can get a clear image of whether I was low ambitious for myself or I was overcommitting myself to my goals. Although it is important to dream big, it's important to start off small. There are plenty of other things and a bunch of different ideas which can be integrated into your bullet journal. Here are some of that which I personally like to implement. One is a birthday list of people I care about, which sometimes help me in not forgetting anyone's birthdays. And if you're like me, you might have some special goals which you want to track separately. You can make a separate spread for gathering information, jotting down the plans and strategies, tracking bits and pieces of that journey towards that goal. So, that was a quick walkthrough guide about how you can without any fancy or expensive stationery. All you need is just one pen and one journal. Well, I'd like to clear that out that you don't need to have a proper journal to start with. You can pick up any diary or notebook and start following this guide. Couple of things you need to keep in your mind while getting into this new world of bullet journaling. First is the importance of not overdoing it. I know it will feel super amazing to start a bullet journal, and I personally felt ecstatic, which led me to making a huge number of goals and trackers which are destined to be left untouched after a few days. So, as I always say, start off small and conquer the small bits and pieces of each and every goal you want to achieve or habits you want to build. It's mighty important to celebrate the small endeavors in your daily life, and it's important to keep pushing yourself even in the ugliest of situations. And also, I'd like to point that out although the bullet journal might be a really powerful tool to organize the things in your life and actually help you be more mindful of your daily life and your life as a whole, but it won't solve all your problems in a short time, nor will it make you a super saiyan of productivity. That's why you need to have reasonable expectations from it. The bullet journal can definitely have a major impact on your life and help you fight procrastination in the long term. So that will be it for this simple bullet journaling guide. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a like, and if you do want to be a part of the journey of ours, you're most welcome to hit the subscribe button. Another thing is, in case you didn't know, Abhishek and I are hosting a quarantine captures, that is a photography challenge on our Instagram photography page, and I'll see you soon.